This region, it's home to a lot of smart people working in science, medicine, and innovation. There are brain surgeons, rocket scientists, Nobel Prize winners. The Pulse connects these folks and lay people for down-to-earth conversations about how their work affects all of us. We're giving people the chance to ask a simple question.
So, what do you do?
So I'm a research scientist. I work on developing diagnostic assays for the food industry to detect bacterial pathogens, but also for the wine and beer industries to detect spoilage organisms.
There's one word I didn't get, which was assay. What's an assay?
Okay, that's an excellent question. An assay is the term that scientists use to basically say an experimental test.
And so how long have you been making beer safe and delicious for people?
We've been working on the BrewPal product for probably about 4 months or so, since the fall.
BrewPal is a really great name, by the way.
Yeah, I am really happy with the name. Essentially, we came up with it, one of our research scientists, Adam Jolson, came up with it with the PAL name because it detects Pediococcus and Lactobacillus bacteria, which are a concern in breweries.
Oh, so it's actually an acronym, not just Brew Buddy.
Yeah, exactly,
Okay.
But it's a little bit of both, really.
Right. I'd be interested in a t-shirt if you guys have any.
We'll work on that.
Okay, good. I also think Invisible Sentinel is a pretty good one.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a really great place to work too.
Cool.
So I co-developed the BrewPal assay, and that obviously requires studying a lot of beer and a lot of bacteria that makes its natural habitat in beer. But first thing I do when I get here a lot of days is I'll show up and I'll open up a beer.
Really?
A research beer.
Right, and this is beer from microbrewers from around the area? From
craft breweries. I mean, we've been really fortunate to partner with some award-winning breweries like Victory, Yards, Weyerbacher,
Right.
Russian River, and also Kettle House. And so they've been able to supply us a lot of the different beers that we study and that have been invaluable for us to develop this test.
Mm-hmm. So what I know about the product is it's a small little physical thing, like sort of like a pregnancy test or something like that. But how actually is it used?
That's an excellent question. So if you wanted to test your beer sample, what you would do is take a small sample, 25 milliliters, which is maybe about a tenth of a soda can, if you think of it that way.
Okay.
Pretty small volume. You're going to put that in a tube and you are going to centrifuge that or put it into a machine that spins really, really fast so that the bacteria are forced to the bottom of the tube.
Okay.
And so now if there's bacteria in your sample, we've collected them and we're ready to analyze them. So we dump off the rest of the beer and we focus in on that bacteria at the bottom of the tube and we sample that, put it into a reaction that's called PCR.
Okay.
So essentially you take your sample, we've designed all of the components of this assay to copy that DNA fingerprint from Pediococcus and Lactobacillus. And once that step is done, which just takes a couple of hours, you apply it to that cassette that we're talking about, the pregnancy test, essentially.
Right.
So you take the liquid, you put it into the cassette window, wait a couple minutes, you wash it with a dropper bottle that we provide, you retract the switch, and then 1 line, you're fine. 2 lines, you've got Lactobacillus or Pediococcus. So it's pretty simple for the user.
It's primarily, I guess, for identifying stuff that's going to change the taste of a beer? Is that right?
Exactly. So if Lactobacillus or Pediococcus get into your beer and start to grow and multiply, their byproduct is lactic acid. So the beer starts to taste sour, and now your Pilsner doesn't taste like a Pilsner, it tastes like a Flemish sour or something like that. You know, you get to this stage now that BrewPal is out in the brewer's hands, and watching them use the assay, pick it up really fast and then pull back the switches and see the result and be excited about that and be excited about how it's going to change what they do in a positive way. That's really gratifying, and seeing how it's going to make big differences for, you know, in the daily lives and the workflow for these breweries or wineries, and seeing them get excited about it.